Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. Uh, we're out here today in the woods. I want to talk to y'all about a particular subject when it comes to living off the land. There's some things that I've been asked a lot about here lately that I haven't covered, and I feel like that this is a good time to do it. The question was asked to me this past week, Danny, if there was no potting soil, because me and this individual we were potting seeds in the ground in some cups, and they asked me, said, if there was no way you could get potting soil, what would be the alternative to doing this? I told them back before I started buying potting soil that I always used leaf mold, and they didn't know anything about leaf mold. And I got to looking back, I've actually had several comments about this, and I guess I've just neglected to actually do anything about it. So in living off the land today, I wanted to talk about leaf mold. Now, in order to find leaf mold, you have to go into the deep woods. Like we're here today, we're in the woods out here. This is undisturbed land that has been here for, I don't know, the land I live on here, I know there hadn't been nothing done here for, 26 years, and in years before that, nothing was done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you down here and I'm going to show you how I find leaf mold and what it looks like, and we're going to talk a little bit about it while we're down here looking at it, and maybe that'll help to enlighten you a little bit on this. Okay guys, we're down here on the ground here, and what we're going to do for leaf mold. Now leaf mold is actually what is decomposed leaves. Now these are fresh leaves that have been on the ground here since last fall, and you'll see the springtime a few green ones fall here and there and they die over the summer. But the leaf mold is actually up under this. Now we're going to rake this back here. And when we get down in here, you're going to see this stuff. And the thing about it is, in the woods, roots grow into it real heavily. This is what true leaf mold looks like here. Now you'll find, you'll find pieces of acorns in it and stuff like that. But it's just pure, it's almost like peat moss. And truthfully, it can take the place of peat moss. Now it is decomposed organic matter from these leaves. And you can look here on the ground just how luscious and thick it is. This is some of the best medium that you can get to actually grow small seeds in and stuff like that. This stuff is great. Now the thing about leaf mold is, leaf mold can hold up to 500 times its weight in water. It has a pH that's usually lower than 6 on the scale. But the thing about leaf mold is it begins to break down and it begins to decompose, it actually starts to neutralize a lot. Now get this, now you have to understand, it's not high in nitrogen or phosphorus or potassium, the other things that fertilizers always talk about. But the thing about leaf mold is leaf mold, plants can mine calcium and magnesium and other trace minerals from it as it breaks down around the plants. Now, if you can actually make your own leaf mold. If you've got a shredder of some sort that'll shred leaves, you can actually make your own. And the thing about making leaf mold is a cold compost. You can use a cold compost method, because you have to understand it's a different process in making leaf mold than it is in making other products out of the soil and stuff like that, and doing your hotbeds and things like that. Leaf mold is done by fungi. When you go to break down other products that you put in these hotbeds, that's done with bacteria, and it has to have a certain amount of heat to function. But now leaf mold doesn't have to have that kind of heat in order to break it down. Leaf decomposing is based on basically 4 key factors about into making leaf mold here. First thing is that some leaves that you work with are higher in lignins, or we can use the word cellulose, than others are. Things like oak leaves and stuff like that are higher in lignins. And it's best, first of all, to use those type of leaves. Holly leaves, oak leaves can be mixed together because they're high in lignins. But now, in order to create the perfect decomposing system, you would want to mix other leaves in that are not high in lignin so that you kind of get a balance in it, because it's all about creating the perfect environment to make leaf mold. Leaf mold needs lots of moisture in order for the fungi to actually grow and to do what it does best. Two, just like breaking down any other type of products, nitrogen is a key factor in it. Now when you put green leaves in with the dry leaves, it kind of speeds up the nitrogen process, and those fresh leaves that you put in there has about, I think, best I remember, has about a 30-to-1 ratio as far as carbons and nitrogens is determined. And then when you get ready to make your own leaf mold, if you don't have forests like I have to go into, if you shred the leaves up, it does a whole lot better job than it does if you leave the leaves whole. Because if you leave the leaves whole, what happens is the leaves will begin to pack and stack on top of one another, and they don't decompose well because there's just not that much surface area for the moisture to get to for them to be able to break down like they will if you shred them up. If you're gonna make this kind of leaf mold like I've got here, this black, rich, I mean, it is so rich. You know, you got to be out in the woods. You can see I got timber in here behind me. We in all these big trees and stuff. That's where it's at. And I kind of wanted to do this talk on leaf mold today because, guys, if a life-changing event takes place and you need to be able to survive and you can't get to the store and get this potting soil, you need the knowledge to be able to go out in the woods and to be able to find the type of medium that you need to be able to grow your small seedlings and your small plants. Now, if you live up north, you know, you can get peat moss, do the same thing. But down in the south here, we always go with leaf mold. Our forefathers had to go out in the woods and do this each spring, and they knew what to gather. This is a lost art in our society today because most people have no clue about how to do this. And everything is in nature that we need. It's up to us to be able to get out there and find it and know what it is. And that's why I'm doing this video today, because I've been asked, what is leaf mold and how do I find it? And I hope that today's been educational, and I hope that you've been able to understand a little bit about what I said. And I hope that I was able to explain it in a way that helps you to understand the benefits of it, how it works, and, you know, just a little bit about it. Because, guys, let's put it like this. If something happens, you're going to need to know how to do this in order to survive. So thank you from Deep South Homestead.